Hello there again. Welcome to AM Talk. My guests seated, Mr. Roxy Nelson Dafeamekpor is Member of Parliament for South Dai. He is a member of the Constitutional Legal Parliamentary Affairs Committee. We will be asking him about the LGBTQ bill, which is not before the committee nor Parliament yet. Also in the studio is Mr. Akwesi Kunedu, who is Member of Parliament for Menchia North, member on the Poverty Reduction Strategy Committee, but it is his health committee, the fact that he's on the health committee, that we want something out of that committee. We'll see if we can get the very latest on the health minister's appearance before the committee and the work of that committee probing issues surrounding Sputnik V purchase, that agreement. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Mama V.
Good morning, Mama V. Good morning to Akwesi. And good morning to my constituents, customarily. They keep Togo.
I guess to your constituents as well.
Yes, Mama V. The good people of Menchia North, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my two district police commanders and my Okada boys, they know why.
You have Okada guys?
Oh, yes, you maintain them, you try and put them into groups.
Really? Is that legal though?
Well, yes, if you are able to operate within the confines of the law.
Is it?
Yes. So
Okay.
you get them registered, you get them insurance.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. I know.
I come from a very rural constituency, don't forget.
I know.
And my roads are in a horrendous state.
Still,
So we use the motorbikes a lot.
I can understand. Let's talk about, we know that if this bill that's has been making the rounds, a lot of people have been talking about it. We have been talking about it certainly even on our show, the LGBTQI plus bill. If it comes to the floor, if it is introduced to Parliament, it would certainly be referred to your committee. At least that's what we're hoping. What do you know about it so far?
Well, good morning once again. I'm one of the promoters.
Oh, so you're part of the Men's Fellowship? The Christian Men's Fellowship in Parliament?
What does that mean?
Oh, because, you know, that's where...
No, I think that
you're not-
too is wrong. There's a lot of propaganda being churned out. And
Is
I think,
it?
yeah, it's. and I
Okay.
think- you see, this is a bill that we are seeking to promote, as it were, from a lot of consultations that we have had. And we need to settle this matter once and for all. Why? Because persons are arrested for supposedly breaching the relevant provisions of Act 29, which is the Criminal Code and Other Offences Act. And they will tell you that the law is not clear. Haven't you heard that?
Many times.
Yes, the law is not clear. And so how do we clarify the law? So this is to clarify the law. Look, Mama, there are some very, very senior persons, people who have voice in this country, and are against this bill. And I've heard them. For instance, yesterday I heard Professor Jiwan Buedi say a lot of things. Mama, are we saying we should allow people who decide to have sex with animals in this country because they have rights?
Isn't that why this is a democracy? You would have
Mama,
your...
it's a democracy. That is.
People also
Hold
believe
on.
in other things.
Exactly. So we should allow a group of prostitutes. We all know prostitution takes place, but it's a criminal act. So we should allow persons who decide to engage in prostitution, form an association, and tomorrow come and tell us that they have rights. We should allow a group of people who decide to have sex with animals, form an association, and go to my child in her school and try and indoctrinate her that tomorrow when she grows up, she should take the decision of having something to do with animals. Indeed, the LGBTQ plus thing is no gayism. It's only a small component of it. Everybody thinks that it's about gays and lesbians. No. There's a P, there's a A, there's a T, there's an I, and they are still telling us that there's a plus. It's an endless group. So people should relax. They should read the bill. They haven't read the bill. They are being carried away by emotions. They should take their time, read the bill, and see exactly the issues that we.
What do you make of the tag that's been given to anti-LGBTQI plus bill?
There's nothing anti about it. And so we find it very strange for people to label it anti-LGBT. Is there anything like anti-vigilantism? Vigilantism already, and landguardism already is a prescribed offense under our Criminal Offences Act. But when the menace became so pervasive in society, or in the peri-urban and urban areas, and we were overwhelmed, and the police couldn't simply be proceeding under Act 39, what did we do as a country? We came to Parliament to enact a law specifically to govern that activity. Since we've done that, some of us have had issues with the full implementation, but it has kept it a bit. That is how society reacts. You need to react and enact legislation to address prevailing social issues.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's your initial comment. I'll come to some of the aspects of it where people say that you even seek to punish those who want to do advocacy. So let me hear your thoughts on this. Are you part of the promoters, sir?
Mama, very good morning. And let me say, I'm not part of the promoters, but I'll support the bill if it comes to the floor of the House. The reason being that, and let me even add to the anti-vigilantism and landguardism that he talks about. Even our new Land Act, even under Section 1213, goes directly against land guards and even the promoters of land guards. I mean, so I don't see anything wrong that as a society, if we want to protect certain social and cultural values, we must be seen as being anti those individuals. You talked about it that we are in a democracy. Yes, that is why we should also be governed by laws and rules. Nobody has a problem, technically, with anybody who would want to engage in a certain activity that the person may feel that a person has a right or a preference towards. But remember when there was this introduction of this curriculum in our schools? Look at the uproar. CSE. Almost every single person went up in arms against that. So why should it? Because at the end of the day, it was being said, but it was a gradual introduction of some of these, what we may term as queer preferences, into the lives of our young ones. But social phenomenon and how people try to push it into society.
In fact, the Q in the LGBTQ.
Yeah, it is queer. People try to pull some of these social phenomena that they would want to have accepted in society through some of these ways of trying to push them out there. We start talking about it. I have even said that if it's possible for us, we probably should not even give airtime for the discussion of it. Because the more we discuss...
Whether for or against?
Yeah, whether for or against, we give a blackout on that. We should not give people an opportunity to articulate certain things.
Isn't that what we've been doing all these years? And now we see that they actually have a base.
Yes, it's because we've given them an opportunity to be articulating these things.
I thought it's because we've gone very quiet.
No.
We've pretended that that does not exist.
That is why they've come back, because we are giving them an opportunity to articulate their views. That is why they even have the effrontery to
So they are first trained.
Yeah, they are first trained. That they would want to even have association now. They go about having lunches and the rest. And now it would one day...
They have an office.
Yeah, you look at that.
They've acquired a property.
So what would happen is that now it's becoming, oh, who are they? Oh, why are you antagonizing them? Oh, leave them. Oh, I mean, it's their preference, it's their choice. But your choice must also be guided under a democracy. Otherwise, at the end of the day, just as my brother said, you'd have these association of, say, prostitutes, you have association of, say, armed robbers, you have an association of all of these individuals, because they also have a choice and a preference. And we are in a democracy. Must we lead them? We must be going back to the foundations of our society and make sure that those institutions of our society are well protected and engraved in our heart and in our minds. Otherwise, we will not have a future. I mean, that is the problem. You see, for those individuals who are even seen outside this country, who do not even understand the traditional setup of our society and the social and cultural norms, also have certain things that they've guarded against all these years. Can I walk into any of these countries where these promoters seek to push this down our throat? to tell them that they should legalize what we term as polygamy. I mean, can they? Because they find that not in their society, not as part of their tradition. So what we feel like is not part of our tradition, and most people that we represent, including yourself, including everybody listening to me, I don't know your preference, who are against that we know, we have a right to also make them heard. We don't have a problem. Somebody will say that let people also put these choices and bring them up for discussion. Let's see if they can stand the test of time now.
Mr. Dafeamekpor brought in Mr. Jimabwedi's conversation on City TV. I just want to, recap some of the things that he's had to say, and I'm reading this from their website, where the co-founder of the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Professor Jimabwedi, has described the draft private members bill seeking to prescribe harsher sanctions for LGBTQI plus people and promoters as misplaced. He goes on to say that there are more pressing issues that Ghana's exceedingly inactive, that's how he described
the parliament.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ought to be focusing on. The question in mind is that, have they decided that homophobic legislation is the best way for them to thank the Ghanaian voter and the Ghanaian taxpayer at large? This issue, or this use of the limited resources of the legislators of the Parliament of Ghana, both their time and resources, just completely baffles me and also makes me feel disappointed. He further felt that the question of the perceived threats of queer people to the Ghanaian social fabric was not valid. So why would you be trying to solve non-existent problems when there are serious problems that face all of us?
Mama, we thank you. First of all, Professor Jimabwedi has lost touch with the work of Parliament. Parliament between January and now have considered a lot of government business of state. Lot. To the extent that sometimes we rose at 10 p.m. So I am struggling to appreciate the basis upon which Professor Jimabwedi, co-founder of CDD of all institutions, will label Parliament as exceedingly what? Inactive. Ghana's Parliament is not a part-time Parliament. Other national assemblies are. Ghana's Parliament is a full-time Parliament. You should speak to the clerk to Parliament and find out the number of bills we've considered, the number of government policy and programs that we have approved, the number of financial facilities that we have approved for government to be able to function between January and now when we were inaugurated. You should find out from the clerk to Parliament the kind of relief program that government has brought to Parliament for us to approve so that it can intervene by way of relief for these COVID-19 matters. So clearly, Professor Jimabwedi is being emotional, and I have high regard for him, so I'll leave that there. 2, he says what? That the bill is misplaced.
You're trying to legislate morality.
Oh, no, at all. But who says that there is no basis to legislate on morality? Why? Is it not considered immoral for somebody to commit an adultery?
Yeah, but that's happening. We haven't brought up a bill.
Who told you? Go and read the Matrimonial Causes Act and find out one of the grounds upon which divorce is granted in this country is unreasonable conduct.
But in the same way, this is just for purposes of debate. You say that if an issue is prevailing, then we pick it out of the Mother Act and we focus on it. That's what you've done with this.
Let me make this point. So it is totally incorrect for him to say that this matter is misplaced. At all. In fact, the matter has gained currency because of the activities of the LGBT groups. We have all known, it's been part of our society from old, that occasionally you find people in society who are queer, who are all that. We have living local terms for it. But the prevalence In any good students of statistics or population statistics, appreciate those variants. So occasionally you find these people in society. But where a group now decide that by their own lifestyle choice will go out and propagate and advocate for others to join them and trust that kind of lifestyle upon all of us, society will resist. And let me tell you why. There's one of the variants of the group is intersex. You know what? Those who engage in intersex. The common English name for intersex people is hermaphrodites. That's all we learn in English. If you are hermaphrodite, we know what it means. But they have coined this modern cliche for intersex. Then they have a P, which is pansex. Do you know what that means? These are people who want to be having sex with inanimate things. Mama V, somebody is saying that he wants to cut a pawpaw in the morning and do whatever he thinks with the pawpaw. And that it is his right to do so. So stay in your closet and do that. Don't attempt to come out in the open, organize programs, and try to tell my 7-year-old daughter to begin to open her eyes to things like that. We will resist it. And we have, over the period, gradually discovered that it is filtering into our curricula, into our pedagogy. So how else can we resist this than by legislation? Somebody should tell me. If we don't resist this by legislation, we are doomed. Already, even persons that we thought that are straight, now we appear, we now from their utterances and actions, we are beginning to tell where they belong. So you're either for us or against us. And the number of people for this bill are a lot. There's nothing anti-gay about this. Look, in the bill, right from about section 15 onwards, there's a whole provision on restitution. If you recant that, okay, I used to do this, but I no longer want to engage in it. Society, we are saying that by legislation, we should be able to rehabilitate you.
There's a colleague of yours from your side, Francis Sosu. I think it's featured in one of the papers. I'm not sure if it's this one that I'm opening, where he says that the bill, the idea is good, but a lot must change in it.
Which law? The provisions.
This LGBT.
I disagree with
That's
you.
it.
Okay.
Bill good, but needs review.
Okay. In any case, Nanavi, I say Nanavi, Mama V.
It's fine.
Yes, Nanavi too is it's very nice. If I know a few people who are Nanavi. Look, every bill that comes to Parliament doesn't go unscarred.
Yeah.
Nanavi, Mama V, I am yet to see a bill that has ever ventured into a National Assembly and gone through the process of legislation unscarred. Some even suffer as much as the long title. So we are welcoming other views, other inputs. I said it on City the last time that we welcome views, we welcome additional input. People should send memoranda. That is what will make the law rich. So they shouldn't sit aloof, just criticize, and not be able to make an input. As part of the criticism, send your input. By well, even it could be a one-page memoranda. You bring it.
It hasn't come to Parliament yet, so we haven't gotten there. But I want your colleagues.
No, but I'm just making because we've sent it for Gazette notification.
Yeah.
Hopefully by the 6th of August we should have the notification.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So please, what's your reaction to what the prof has had to say? You guys are wasting your time dealing with issues of morality.
It's interesting for him to say that, and we are not wasting our time on the issue of morality. Mama, let me give an example. I mean, we all know that TV is wrong, and people who steal are wrong. Why are we saying, therefore, that we should go and have a bill, as he just said, about corruption? If necessarily we are wasting our time on trying to do what? Regulate morality. We should then leave people to further their interest in TV. Why are we criminalizing people who go out there, break people's cars?
And let me add this before you go on. One of the criteria for appointing high judges in this country
is an issue of morality.
Is that the person must be of high, not just moral, high moral character.
Yeah, but isn't that okay?
No,
an unresolved.
No. If it's
so morality is part of our laws.
Yeah, it's part of our social
standards, criteria. To serve in a public office, so even must be of high moral character.
Even if it's unresolved.
What constitutes that high?
So that is the point. So can you tell me here, Mama V, that if I somebody who would want to aspire to become, say, a Supreme Court judge, and we know perfectly well that the person goes out in arms, taking from people, knocking and breaking people's doors down, and stealing from them, and you still want to say that person must necessarily be...
Isn't that an extreme example?
No. When would we not have an extreme example for anything? Maybe all that I'm trying to say is that nobody is trying to regulate morality, but we are only making the cause of what we've come to meet. Society, its structures, its institutions, what the way... You see, Parliament has a role to play. And what role can Parliament play in all of these matters? To protect the present now. And also guard against what may happen to the future generations. That they may have no clue as to what we are moving forward to. What we've come to see, Mama V, I like when Susu say the bill is good but needs review. Just as my brother has said. Yes, we will continuously be discussing these matters now that I even wish we should not have. But in as much as we would want to put down these rules, these guidelines, these laws, so that it can shape our all well-being, we probably need to be engaging more and to make the bill much more richer, even maybe than we have now. So that we can, Mama, if you look, these individuals would at the end of the day would want to come together even to marry and end up adopting people to take care of them as their children.
It's happening.
Yes.
So it's part of the provision.
If you would want to engage in an act that will not augur for procreation, why then do you want to go for a benefit from procreation? And find that also, that is a choice. That is why it must be regulated. If you are not interested in procreation, why then must you go and benefit from the...
must procreate for you?
Procreate for you to benefit from. Mama, so we need...
You want to have sex with animals.
Sex with animals. But you want to go and adopt somebody's
child. And they're already doing it. Go to Osu Children's Home. It's an issue before our courts.
You see, it's like just taking it with both hands. Trying to make you feel like, oh, we are good individuals. We are taking the underprivileged, the needy, and we are taking care of them. Whilst they put them through these practices of non-procreation. So at the end of the day, if all of us engage in that act of procreation, or non-procreative activities, who would at the end of the day be the person to man this entire thing that they would want to even benefit from? I mean, these are the problems. These are the real challenges that we are facing.
Have you paid attention to the concerns raised by Asari Ochredako, where he says that those of you promoting the bill are exposing Ghana to be blacklisted for hates?
I don't believe we are exposing Ghana to... We are only saying that this is what our social structure is. This is our moral fiber as a society is. And the need for us to protect and guard against that. I mean, have we, in any case, in my view, blacklisted any country that is against polygamy? Have we? But they go directly against that. And there are laws in those countries that go against polygamy. But they've never been under attack. I don't believe we are going to be under attack. In as much as we are not going against...
Did you follow the back and forth with Sam George on Twitter the other day?
Yes, I did. And Mama V, seriously, as I sit here, I'll probably not have anything wrong with that. He only asked...
No, you said we're not an attack. I was just citing that as an example when a colleague from another jurisdiction decides to make what we're doing his business and come at you.
He is coming at who? He is just coming after his own ideas that he would want to put out there. And Sam George also asked me a very simple question. That they should go and legalize polygamy. Maybe what was the answer from the other person? You see, we are just in a certain quagmire because we need to be seen in the light of other people as either pushing the agenda. No, we also have our traditional institutions. We also have our... You see, there is part of this that Professor Jimabwedi talks about. He would not have had a problem if this was being pushed by the religious, clergy, other social and civil society individuals. If they push it, where would it end up to?
Is it in Parliament?
It's in Parliament, and they are technically the promoters of even this bill.
In fact, it is their
draft.
It is their activities that has attracted our attention. National House of Chiefs, the Christian Council, the National Chief Imam, and all that. Another coalition led by my revered senior Moses Fuamweni. So we decided that no. When we eventually met and listened to them, we realized that no, as parliamentarians, we needed to do something.
Do you have support from the executive?
Certainly we'll have support from the executive.
No, do you, as it is now?
No, because it's a private member's bill. The support from the executive may not manifest yet, but it will come because you see, the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs is also the leader of government business, and that's the executive, and so he will be managing this bill.
Is he part of the promoters?
No, he's not. But I'm giving you an instance where the executive assistants will come in. Executive as an arm of government, because he's the leader of government business in Parliament. He will be tabling this, putting it on the order paper, prioritizing it for it to be taken as part of business of the House. So yes, to that extent, we'll have executive support. Indeed, when it is eventually passed, the president will be expected to assent to it. That will be an executive support.
How much of the members of Parliament are in support of this private members' bill?
Now we are 8, and we are others are now pouring in that they should be added to the list. So we'll be meeting Speaker shortly to discuss if there's a room for others who want to feature as promoters.
Why are you involving the Speaker when the bill has not come before Parliament?
Why shouldn't we? The Speaker is the Speaker of Parliament. This is a private member's bill. It is under his aegis. In fact, the decision to allow private members to begin to push bills through the House was begun with Professor Michael Quay. He allowed about 3 or 4, and that was during the wee hours of his term. So when his then second deputy speaker became the substantive speaker, it was something he had always longed for as the longest serving member of Parliament. So when he assumed the role, it was natural for him to rather encourage members to come out with bills, as many as we can. You see, we cannot always expect the executive to do this. Sometimes it takes them forever. As we speak, the LI to give effect to the Right to Information Act is still, it's still laboring. They're still struggling to bring it. You understand my point? So if we had power to do that, a member could simply bring this on board and get it done. So there are a lot of...
So after all this talk,
yes,
if this thing does not show up in Parliament, it will be very disappointing.
No, it will show up. It's our bill. It's not anybody's bill. And we are in Parliament. And I'm saying that where we have gotten to is to seek for Gazette notification, 21 sitting days. Once it comes, we'll prioritize it. It will be laid. When it's laid, we'll do the first reading. We'll do the second reading. That's the debate on the principles and policies underpinning the bill. That's the memorandum. Then we'll go to consideration. So that's what we do, delete, amend, the technicalities of lawmaking. That's where you find it. If it becomes necessary, we'll do winnowing. Winnowing is that a small committee will go and look at it so that when it comes to the floor, it is taken through consideration stage quickly. And then we'll do the third reading, and then it is passed. If somebody is minded, there's an opportunity for a second reading, a second consideration, which is rare, but it happens. So, maybe it's as simple as that.
Okay, I guess we will get talking after the 21 days.
Yes,
and then we will see.
By the 6th of August, it should be ready.
Okay, but this is certainly one of priority for those of you promoting it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's our business.
Okay.
It's our business.
All right. When I brought in the democracy bit, it was just the conversation. Somebody can have a different view from what you guys have.
But a lot of people have those views. And it is okay to have those views.
That is why we are discussing.
Bring a memo, bring an input. Let's hear you. But don't stay outside there and say that we are homophobic.
But if you have this perception about the group,
yes,
how would what they bring forward be welcomed?
I mean, it's not
Why?
a perception about.
It's a democracy. Let's hear your views. So, you know,
You've taken a position. It's not as if anything anybody says would change your mind anyway.
The principle of law is that you must hear the other side. Let us hear them. Let them put their views on paper. They can be persuasive. We'll look at it. It's
That's
always
exactly
good
what I
to
was
put your
going
view on
towards.
paper.
Okay.
Bring it.
Nobody is taking a stance.
Look, a point or two can be taken from there. Look, Professor Tuguba taught me something about 16 years ago in law class, conflict of laws.
Yeah.
It's a very technical area of the law. This is where you find things like this. Something is regular in another country and it is a criminal, it's a prescribed in another. And then, so for instance, when two persons marry under a certain law, so civil union, two females or two males, then they move to Ghana. Will Ghanaian laws recognize such a marriage? Where there are disputes, what happens? So he said, when there's a law, and I hope Prof is listening, he says when there's a law, and people are crying that the law is obnoxious, it is draconian, leave the law and listen to the people. Because why? They are not criticizing the law. They are criticizing the sanction regime. Yeah. So it means they say that the law is good, but the punishment. You understand? So all that they are saying is that we want to imprison people. But they find the law to be, the proposal to be good. So let us hear them.
Alternatively, maybe it could also be that they haven't read the proper content.
No, we know that some haven't read. Some haven't read at all. Mama,
it's just
for
that
instance,
they said they would jail you for 10 years.
Yes, for instance, our traffic laws, when you jump red.
Yes.
And the law is that you should be jailed forever. That would be draconian. That would be obnoxious, isn't it? So the traffic law is good, but it's the sanction regime. So can it be a fine? So if it's a fine that they want, they should come. Indeed, there are provisions for fines.
All right, I mean, I like how you ended this, which is good.